Welcome to In Layman's Terms. When Tesla announced it would finally be releasing its Model Y SUV in Australia, I came to the conclusion that this was the time to purchase my first electric vehicle. As I'm sure this will also be the case for many other people in the coming years, for me, this is definitely new territory and a new experience. As there are countless Tesla and EV videos online, I wanted to do something different with this review, as after a while, they all start sounding the same. My goal is to share with you the most impactful learning experiences I went through switching over to an EV. I aim to provide answers to the questions you don't even have yet. Before I get deep into the video, I'd like to share a little story about my delivery experience. I managed to secure a pre-order of the Model Y on day one, and yet my vehicle was delivered 6 weeks after the initial stock arrived. I arrived at the Tesla showroom, Miranda, New South Wales, Australia. The showroom is quite bare bones and Spartan, no more than 2 seats for customers to use. I was greeted by some friendly staff who were happy to help. However, I felt that their knowledge in relation to the vehicle was a little on the light side. I was informed that I had a little over 15 minutes to get in the car and drive away, as there was a huge line of deliveries coming through. I feel that for most people, this is definitely not a sufficient amount of time. There was little to no education provided to me on the vehicle or how to use it. They essentially strap you in and show you the exit. I have purchased a few brand new cars in my time, and I might sound like a snob, but I really do appreciate the little things that Tesla just didn't get right. I had just spent quite a large sum of money, and I definitely appreciate it when dealers can make you feel a little special. Sit with me, walk me through the car and how to use it, give me time to process and formulate more questions. Even a simple coffee machine in the showroom would have been a nice touch. Fortunately, I was well studied before I accepted delivery. However, not everyone is going to be tech savvy. For a lot of people, this can be an overwhelming and intimidating experience. For anyone who has difficulty adapting to new technology, I would highly recommend taking a tech savvy friend along with you. I know if my parents had this delivery experience, they would most likely feel more stress than joy. Just a little feedback from my delivery experience. Moving to the Model Y and what I think you need to know. First of all, do you have a charging strategy? The Model Y can be charged in a number of different ways. There is the Tesla mobile connector. This is called Level 1 charging. I believe this is going to be the most common way people will charge. It allows you to charge the vehicle from any standard Australian household outlet, albeit at an extremely low rate. However, don't let that scare you. For 90% of my daily commuting to and from work or running daily errands, the mobile connector will serve you just fine, as you can simply plug in and top up every evening. From 0 to 100% using the mobile connector, you're looking at close to 24 hours. However, from my personal experience, I would never or rarely get even close to using 50% of my battery during a normal day of driving. Meaning, when you get home during the evening, plug it in, you will more than likely be at 100% state of charge by the next morning. Another option is the Tesla wall connector. This is referred to as Level 2 charging. This is the fastest way to charge from home. This charger requires a certified electrician to install the device. At the time of making this video, the Tesla wall connector is $750 plus installation costs. Expect anywhere from $500 to $800 for installation. Using the wall connector, you're looking at a 0 to 100% charge time of approximately 7 to 8 hours. Again, I highly doubt there will ever be a time you will be charging from 0%, so keep that in mind. Once you own an EV, you will simply get into the habit of plugging it in at the end of your driving day. So unlike an ICE, internal combustion engine vehicle, where you generally fill up on empty, with an EV, it's more of a top up as you go strategy. The wall connector, in my opinion, is the best way to charge. First of all, its increased charging speed allows you to top up your EV quickly if you are ever in a time-sensitive situation. Second, if you have solar at home, during the day, you can capture all that energy directly into the vehicle as fast as the solar generates it. If you can monitor the output of your solar array, you can then use the Tesla app to increase or decrease the rate of charge. For example, during a sunny day, my solar array generally outputs around 10 kilowatts. I can then use the Tesla phone app to decrease the rate of charging down to around 8 kilowatts, leaving an extra 2 kilowatts headroom for the house. So for the majority of the daytime, I am charging the vehicle for free by avoiding using the grid. Obviously, solar energy does fluctuate with the weather conditions, so it's not a foolproof solution. However, I have found that if I schedule the Tesla to begin charging from around 9:30 a.m. until around 3:30 p.m., I generally avoid the grid most of the time. For me, switching to an electric vehicle has had several positive unintended consequences. I reduced my carbon footprint by avoiding the use of the electrical grid as much as possible when recharging my EV. My fuel costs have been practically reduced to zero when charging from home, which is most of the time. More importantly, I learned to think of my EV as a battery. I am now capturing and storing those precious solar-generated kilowatts directly into my EV, and not giving them away to the electrical company for a fraction of what they will sell them back to me for later that same night. As I never purchased an EV with most of those points in mind, it is a pretty cool unintended win-win if you ask me. Moving on to the real world stuff. Apps. Get ready to install apps on your phone and register accounts for each of them. Annoying. As a Tesla owner, charging on the road using the Tesla superchargers are the easiest. No apps, just plug in, charge, and leave. After your charging session is complete, you will see the information and cost on the screen inside the vehicle. If you wish to charge at any other location, you will need the apps. At this stage, I have ChargeFox, AMP Amp Charge, Jolt, EV, ChargePoint, and the list goes on. This is something I really think the government should step in and standardize. Imagine that every time you go to fill up your vehicle at a different brand of petrol station, you needed a specific app for each of them just to pay. Each system has a different way of charging and paying. For me, this isn't a great experience. One app I highly suggest all EV owners get is PlugShare. This will tell you where any brand charging station is and give you up-to-date reviews if they are functioning correctly. Running low on charge and arriving at a charging location only to discover that it's out of service? Not fun. Terms or things you need to know. Obviously, we covered ICE vehicles, which means internal combustion engine vehicle. Level 1, 2, and 3 charging. Level 1 and 2 we have covered. Level 1 being the slowest charging from a wall outlet. Level 2 being the fastest way to charge from home. These are also referred to as destination chargers. A lot of hotels, restaurants, and shopping centers have destination chargers, which are often the Tesla wall connector or other brands that all charge at a similar speed. Level 3 charging, often referred to as superchargers. Think of these like petrol stations. These are the fastest and most expensive way to charge. They will vary in speed and price. Depending on the supercharger, you can expect a rate of charging of anywhere from 50 kilowatts to 350 kilowatts. Depending on what vehicle you have will also determine your maximum charging speed. This is where PlugShare is helpful. It will tell you the speed, the price, and how recently it was last reported working okay. As this is the rear-wheel drive model, from what I can tell, the launch performance is software limited in order to maintain grip off the line, so it's not going to snap your neck launching from zero. What it will do, however, is once you are doing anywhere above 20 to 30 kilometers per hour, if you put your foot down, this car will snap you back into your chair. It's actually quite impressive. One final point I will mention is that the Model Y is very reactive to how you drive and the environment you put it in. For example, I went on a road trip down the south coast which took around 4 hours. The majority of the drive was downhill to flat and 70% of that drive was on high-speed motorways. I was at 100% state of charge upon departing. Upon arriving at my destination, 51% state of charge. What was most impressive, during a large portion of the downhill driving, I actually noticed the state of charge increasing due to the regenerative braking. As I was staying overnight, I simply plugged into a household outlet with the mobile connector to recharge. By the morning, the Model Y was back up to 100%. Now, here's the kicker. I did that same drive in reverse the next day and arrived home with 11% state of charge. That taught me a valuable lesson about the Model Y. The car is reactive to how you drive or where you are driving. If you want to drive like a maniac, you can easily go through the battery. If you are doing extended uphill high-speed driving, you will also go through the battery much quicker. That being said, if you input your destination using the Tesla navigation, it is scary accurate. When I entered my return destination the next day and it reported I would arrive with 11% state of charge, which is a considerable difference from 51%, I assumed it was an error. Let me tell you, I was both shocked and impressed when I arrived at home with 11% state of charge. With all of that in mind, there are more and more supercharging locations appearing all the time. In regards to electric vehicles, the most skeptical of my friends and family, who generally believe that recharging the car is the main problem, allow me to alleviate your concerns. If there is a supercharger along your route, it won't take more than 15 to 20 minutes to give you enough power to get as far as you would like. Any drive over 4 hours long, most people would stop to refuel and use the washroom. 15 to 20 minutes on any moderate speed supercharger will get you back up to 80% or more. It's really not that hard. Wrapping up this video, this car is cheaper, faster, cleaner, and requires little to no servicing. Like it or not, this is the future. And I love it. Thank you all for your support. Until next time.